Mom, when I grew up, I'm going to be an engineer and an airplane pilot and a race car driver. And you just look and go, mm. Because you know what? That just isn't practical. I mean, you're not going to have enough years and enough hours in a day to be all of those things. Now, they might actually grow up and do it. You just have no idea what a kid might do. But you do need to teach your child how to be practical. And some people use the word realistic about practicality, and it's one of the words that might fit in. Another word I would use with practicality would be frugality. In other words, you have to be practical about the ways that you spend your money. Another thing you have to be practical about is the ways that you spend your time and your energy. So let's talk about what it would mean to teach your child to be practical. All right, do you know what? You can go to school. You can be a full-time mom, and you can even hold a part-time job. I should know because I did it my own self. But you know what? It wasn't practical long term. It was a very short duration, 3.5 years, and I knew I was going to have to work like a blamed fool, and I certainly did. But you know what? Practically, I couldn't have kept that up for long. I mean, I would have driven myself into the ground. Seriously. And so you have to teach your child to be practical. Part of that is good, judicious use of one's time and energy. Because you know what? It's a practical truth. You get 24 hours in a day, and sometimes you have to sleep. I mean, you have to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours a day as an adult. And honestly, the average little kid needs between 10 and 12 hours of sleep in 24 hours. That means they got 12 hours to get all the stuff done that they want to do. So thank God they have plenty of energy in which to do it. However, you have to get them to understand you're not going to get everything done that you want to have done. If you have a list of 20 things and you only have 12 hours in which to do it, and they all take an hour apiece, that's not practical. So you teach your child to have realistic goals and expectations. That's practical. Then they say, Mom, I want to buy a $400 mountain bike. Well, I can't afford it. You're going to have to earn it. And all they can earn is 10 bucks per lawn, and nobody in the neighborhood needs their services because everybody in the neighborhood uses a lawn service that's professional. Yeah, that's probably not a practical goal to buy a $400 mountain bike this summer. I mean, it might take you 2 or 3 years to save it up. So you have to teach your child practicality. Let's kind of start at the beginning. So you have a 3 to 5 year old, because believe me, kids littler than this aren't even going to understand this, but you have a 3 to 5 year old and they go to preschool. And when they get home, they say, Mom, I want you to make me cookies. Mom, I want you to take me to the park. Mom, I want you to take me to the museum. Mom, I want you to take me to the library. Okay, these are all really great suggestions, but this is not practical because we are probably going to get to do one thing today. One thing, okay? So let me know which one of those things is more important. And they have to prioritize or make decisions. Priorities, establishing priorities is part of practicality, okay? I want to do 20 things too, but I can't because I only have so many hours in this day, and so I can't get them done. I have to make practical decisions. Let me tell you how this works out. You go to the store to buy a new outfit because you're going to go to a wedding. And you start looking at cute sandals, and you start looking at really cool new ties, and you start looking at really awesome new earrings. You just look at all these things. You know, if you only have half an hour in which to shop, this is not a practical use of your time. Then you walk out the door later with an outfit that you really don't like, that's not going to even fit you, that you didn't have time to try on. See, that wasn't a practical use of your time. The practical use of your time is go right to the area where you need to buy what you're going to buy, find something that you like in terms of color and style, try it on, and after that 15 or 20 minutes, if you have another 10 or 15 minutes in which to shop, you look at other things. That's a practical use of your time. You get to teach that same thing to your child. They say, Mom, I really want to go to my friend's birthday party. Great. You have to pick up your room. Okay, Mom. So they start picking up their room. But then they get stuck on this book they haven't seen in a while because it was buried under 100 things. Or they find this toy they haven't had their hands on in a while because it was buried under a pile of clothing. And they start playing with that. And all of a sudden, it's time to go to their friend's party. They haven't picked up their room. And they say, Mom, I'll pick up my room later. And if you're the kind of mom I was, it's like, no, actually, you will not. You will either be late for your friend's party or you will miss your friend's party because you have to pick up your room. You did not teach your child to make practical use of her time because you have to pick up your room first. When you find that toy or that book you haven't seen in a long time, you put it on the nightstand, you put it on the end of the bed, so as soon as you were finished with your work, then you can play with that for a few minutes if you have time before you go to your friend's birthday party. But you didn't make practical use of your time. I'm not responsible for that. But you do have to do what I already instructed you to do. So see, it's really important to teach your child practicality. Okay, here's another way that you have to do practicality. A lot of us don't really love this one. I just want you to know, but it's vital to your child having a great, successful life. So if you don't have this element of practicality down yet, this is something for you to work on in order that you can model it and instruct your child. And again, just so you know, lots of things I learned alongside of my kids. This might be one of those things that you have to learn alongside of your child. You say, when you go to get this gift for your friend, you have a $20 limit. Okay, Mom, I understand. And you go shopping. And they find this beautiful Barbie. And it's $35. I'm really sorry, you can't afford that. I told you your limit is $20. I know, Mom, but she's so beautiful and she's so amazing and I really want you to get this for me. It's like, no, no, no. I'm sorry, I told you the limit is $20. You have to find a gift for $20. You know, the same thing applies to us as adults. Say, okay, I'm going to get a new pair of sandals, but I have a budget and I can only spend $20. And you go into that store and there are these totally cute sandals and they're 35 bucks. And you go, yeah, you can't get those because I already told you the budget is 20 bucks. Okay? That's what I mean. If you can't live a practical life in terms of money, how do you think your kid is going to live a practical life? Because they've already been watching you for 8 or 10 or 12 years and they know the drill. You have to live a practical life in order that your child can learn it. You're teaching them to be practical. And to be practical is to live within your budget. Trust me about this. Because it isn't practical to buy a $35 pair of sandals and then feed the kids bologna sandwiches all week because you had to cut back somewhere. That's not practical. Also, it's not very kind and it's pretty selfish. We'll just throw that one in. But you have to be practical. Okay, dads, let's be practical a minute. For real. Okay, so you have a really nice car and you take great care of it. And something's not quite right. You're like, I can't really afford this, so I'll just wait. And you wait, and you wait, and you wait. Then the car breaks down. You can't get to work. It costs so much more to repair because it caused other trouble because you didn't take care of the first thing. You know, that's just not practical. The practical thing is, as soon as it starts acting up, go get someone to look at it. Oh my word, if you can't afford to put it into the shop, go to AutoZone. What do you know? They can put a diagnostic computer right on there and start talking to you about, I'm pretty sure it's this. Then you kind of know what you're looking at. Then you can call around, say, hey, I think my ignition switch isn't working correctly. How much is it going to cost me to get this thing repaired on a whatever kind of vehicle, whatever year, whatever model? It isn't practical to leave it alone and let it go and let it go and let it go. Things usually get worse, not better. So practical wisdom is take care of it as soon as you possibly can. Okay, that's practical. And I guarantee you it's usually going to cost you more money and more time and cause more trouble the farther down the road you get. So take care of it right away. Let's talk about practicality in terms of relationships. You know, you and your spouse have a big blow up. You and your brother or sister have a big blow up. You and your mom and dad get into a big fight. Practicality is to only give it about a day or so. Call them up and say, "Man, I know we had this massive disagreement, but I can't let this go. In a way, I don't really want to deal with this right now because, man, I'm still a little upset. But I'm not going to let this go for a week or two and fester and get worse and expand in my mind and expand in yours. No, we need to talk about this. Okay. Practical wisdom is deal with major issues as they come up. That is practical. You need to teach that to your child. They get into a big fight with the neighbor kid that they've been friends with for a long time, and for a couple of days, they don't want to go over there and deal with this. You need to take a hold of their hand and say, "Do you know what? We're going to go over to your friend's house. I'm going to talk to their mom, and you're going to talk to them, and we are going to take care of this." You are teaching your child to be practical in their relationships. Practicality goes all the way across so many parts of life. Let's talk about education because you're teaching your child to be practical. When a child has a project, and teachers usually tell you at least a week and sometimes a month ahead about this big project that you have to do, it is not practical to wait until the night before, pull out your hair, go crazy, and do a reasonably poor job by comparison. That's not practical, okay? If you take the entire week or the entire month and you do it each day, a little at a time, a little at a time, and by time it's due on Friday, on Thursday afternoon, it's pretty much finished. That is a whole lot more practical. And let me tell you, practicality will reduce stress in your life. Practicality will reduce frustration in your life. And practicality will make your relationships and, very truthfully, even a lot of things in your, we'll say, your possessions or your expectations, a lot less frustrating. And so it is very worthwhile to live a practical life. It's also very worthwhile to teach your child practicality. Okay? So I want you to know it's pretty challenging. You need to pick an area of your life where you're going to practice being practical first, and at the same time, alongside, teach your child that practicality. So, my question is, are you going to start with practicality in the area of scheduling, of financing, of taking care of problems with immediacy, or in relationships? Where are you going to begin dealing with things that are practical and teaching your child practicality? I don't want you to do this today. This is one of those things I want you to chew on for a little while. Where am I pretty impractical? And where do I need to develop more practicality? Or else look at your child and where are they most impractical, possibly from modeling your behaviors, and where do I need to help my child develop practicality first? So I really want you to learn to live a practical life. And if you have any questions or any comments about that, please ask me. I'd be delighted to hear from you. And I want to thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.